Hey guys, welcome to my new movie collections update video for the month of June 2014. I'm glad you guys can make it for this video. I'm glad you can join me. Got a nice little selection of films that I saw recently, and well, some of them not so recently. I kind of saw them already about a month ago, but I've been pretty busy with other things, as you probably well know. I'm going to Japan in about a week, most likely less than a week at this point already by the time this video goes up. So I'm really excited about that. I'm just trying to make sure that I have everything pretty much taken care of, and that I'm checking off everything on my checklist to make sure that I'm going over there well prepared to do whatever it is that I'm going to do over there and have a lot of fun, guys. So most likely this might or will be the last video that I put up. I know I've been putting up like a series of videos before, but this will probably be the last one that I put up before I leave to Japan. I don't know if I'm going to put up anything while I'm there. You can always check on my Twitter to see if I'm posting up any updates there. Most likely I will. And that's pretty much it. But definitely, once I come back, I'll try to put up some videos or some, with either video that I take or pictures that I've taken while I was on my trip, guys. All right. So let's get started on this little video. So the first video that I have to show you is Keanu Reeves in 47 Ronin. And I have to say that I was actually fairly surprised, well surprised by this film. I really didn't think much of it, going into, except that, I was expecting some really good samurai fighting action. And for the most part, it really does have some really decent samurai fighting action in it. For those of you that know, it's actually based off the actual, I believe, the historical event surrounding the actual 47 Ronin, who were trying to avenge the death of their leader due to a false accusation of an assassination of a other official. I don't really know the actual story that this is based off, because it's based on an actual event in Japanese history. So I don't know all the details, and I know that the film actually takes some liberties with those details anyway. But it's pretty close. It's pretty close in trying to keep some of those facts accurate in there anyway. But overall, I would say that this movie was really a lot of fun. Like I said, didn't expect too much from it, so I was pleasantly surprised by it. Again, Keanu Reeves does a really good job playing this outcast who kind of is accepted into this tribe and who's taught their ways, and all the stuff that happens leading to his being banished and the 47 Ronin being banished from their stable, and how they kind of come together to try to seek revenge for their fallen master. So overall, again, great special effects, decent storyline. Again, Keanu Reeves, you kind of expect him to do roles like this now, and again, it's his usual type of performance, but again, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. I'm not going to complain too much about it. So overall, I really did enjoy this film. So I would say definitely I recommend you guys check it out if you haven't done so already. So 47 Ronin. The next film that I have to show you is Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone in Grudge Match. Now, I have to say that this movie kind of feels to me like it's a cross between Rocky and Raging Bull, because Rocky with Sylvester Stallone and Raging Bull with Robert De Niro. And it's interesting just seeing how the beginning starts off with their history in terms of as being these two boxers that have kind of had matches before. And I believe it's on the second one that it kind of ended up in a draw, or there was a big controversy over that last fight that they had. And then it's not until 20 years later that basically they decide that well, not themselves but other people kind of get them to go along and try to have a third rematch, or actually more like a second rematch, but it ends up being like a third match, to kind of settle the dispute to see who is the dominant fighter of their generation. So it's pretty interesting. It's a comedy. It's just interesting seeing Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro, being, as old as they are, going through these training sessions and trying to get prepared for the matches, and just all the silly shenanigans that happen as they're trying to promote, the fights, and just they're trying to get along. And there's even some scenes with, Robert De Niro trying to get, trying to get along with, I believe, his son, who he's kind of, isolated from. So they have kind of like this very, he's kind of estranged from his son. So basically, he's just trying to, get back together with him. So there's this unique little storyline within that. But overall, I thought it was pretty funny. There was some nice moments in this movie as well. And even, again, going back to the beginning of the film when they're showing you some of the past matches that they had together, was pretty interesting. And I was really not fascinated, but I was impressed by some of the visual effects that were used in order to make the motion capture. I believe is what they used, the motion capture to make Sylvester Stallone and Robert De Niro look young for those match sequences at the beginning of the film. So that was really interesting to see. And overall, the film, it was pleasant. It wasn't the greatest comedy ever, but it was fairly decent. So I definitely say give it a shot if you haven't done so already. Grudge Match. The next film that I have to show you, of course, is the second Hobbit movie, The Desolation of Smaug. And again, following along with where the first movie left off, we find that our tribe is pretty much just moving in towards trying to get into the dwarfs' dwellings now to try to confront the dragon Smaug. And again, I don't know too much about the Hobbit storyline, but again, visually this movie looks amazing, just like all the films in the Hobbit series, like the previous one, and definitely like the Lord of the Rings trilogy films. The visual effects are phenomenal in this film. I really enjoyed it a lot. And the storyline, again, it keeps rolling in terms of being pretty suspenseful, lots of action going on. Elves trying to fight off against, monsters, and, the dwarves, and our hobbits, right, trying to get to the mountain to, enter the cave and get inside. And I think the one thing that intrigued me the most about this film and was the reason why I wanted to see it was because I was really interested in the female elf. I believe her name is, what's her name? Is Tariel, I believe. I think I'm pronouncing it, appropriate. Tariel. I was really interested in her character. She has a very unique look that I kind of like, and a female elf that basically knows how to handle herself and use a bow and arrow. Again, I find that pretty attractive. So. But it was really a lot of fun watching her character. From what I believe, another friend told me that basically she was added into this storyline because she isn't actually part of the actual Hobbit storyline. So. But it was pretty unique. It was interesting to see that. And again, everything that happens in here, it ends again, for those of you, because I'm sure most of you have seen it, ends on a cliffhanger. So there's going to be another movie to follow this one, which will hopefully close out the entire Hobbit series now. But overall, I say this was a lot of fun. So if you guys enjoyed, the Lord of the Rings trilogy and you pretty much enjoy the Hobbit series, I would definitely say check this out if you haven't already done so. The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. The next film that I have to show is this film with a really pretty much amazing cast, which is Monuments Men. Now here we have George Clooney, Matt Damon, Bill Murray, John Goodman, and a bunch of in Kate Blanchett. There's a bunch of other, several other actors in here that I recognize, but I don't really know their names, even though it's kind of written right there. But again, this movie I think would intrigue me is because I'm not a huge history buff or anything like that, but I find films that are based partly or entirely on some sort of historical event or that kind of discloses a bit of historical facts that maybe I wasn't aware of. I find to be very intriguing, very interesting, and I love things like that. So I found this to be pretty interesting. The fact that the whole premise of the film is that the Nazis are invading territories, I believe, in Italy and in France, and they're taking all the artwork and they're trying to keep it for themselves, and either destroying it or just trying to make it their own. So they're trying to collect all this art to keep it for themselves. And so the Americans form this unit that goes into those areas to figure out where the stolen artworks, painting, or statues have been taken, retrieve them, and bring them back to their rightful places where they were taken from. And I find it pretty interesting because I really didn't know that was actually happening. So when I found out that was the premise of this movie, I was really interested in it. And again, it's a really great cast to see all of these characters, all of these actors in here playing all these unique characters, and just the events that led into how the paintings were being stolen, what the American units known as the Monuments Men did in order to covertly infiltrate those areas, find information, how and what they did to retrieve all the artworks, the priceless artworks that were stolen. Was actually pretty interesting, and it does have its funny moments as well. Just seeing all these cast of actors playing all these characters was actually unique to see them, how they kind of just played well with each other, and just kind of just had jokes and were ragging on each other. So overall, I mean, I honestly really enjoyed the film, because again, it's based on some sort of historical fact, or it's based on a historical event. So I found it very fascinating and I really enjoyed it. So I definitely say, if you're interested in history-based films, definitely check this out. It's worth a look. It's pretty funny as well. So definitely Monuments Men. The next film that I have to show you is Ice Cube and Kevin Hart in Ride Along. Now, this movie I did enjoy, except for the fact that I felt like the trailers kind of gave away all the best parts of the film. So there weren't really any other extra funny bits. There were maybe one or two that weren't revealed in the trailers that made me laugh. but for the most part, all the major ones that made me laugh from the trailers was basically all that the movie had. So that was kind of like my only complaint about it, is that the trailers kind of gave away, you know, the best laughs in the film. But overall, you know, it's a really decent film. It's funny overall anyway, regardless of that. And basically the premise is that, you know, Kevin Hart is he's trying to propose to Ice Cube's sister, and he kind of doesn't trust him, doesn't believe him, and he wants to test him. So basically, he takes him along on what they call a ride along. They basically just ride with him, since you know Ice Cube's character plays a cop in this film. So you know, he takes him along, tries to show him a few things to see if Kevin Hart's character is man enough to be able to, you know, take care of his sister and be his or her husband and all. So there's a lot of unique, funny things that happen in here, and then there's like a, you know, a drug bust that really turns into something really serious. You know, hopefully I didn't give away too much with that. That happens in here, and things, you know, happen as a result of that particular event as well. But overall, you know, if you haven't seen it, I definitely say check it out. Like I said, there really isn't anything else funny beyond what the trailer kind of showed about this film. But overall, I really did like it, so definitely say check out Ride Along if you haven't done so already. And the last film that I have to show you is Ben Stiller in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And I have to say that this movie, above all else, was visually stunning. I mean, all the locations that were used in this film were absolutely breathtaking. It almost reminded me like if I was watching a Lord of the Rings movie or a Hobbit film, because there was these landscapes that were shown were so picturesque. I mean, it was like, wow, this is beautiful. Like, I actually want to go there myself one day, you know, to experience what those locations are like, to just be able to see it for myself. And you know, that's probably my one of my biggest compliments of the film, is that these locations that they chose were actually breathtaking. They were amazing. They were great. And I mean, overall, the storyline for this film is that basically Walter Mitty works for Time magazine, and it's the point where Time magazine is moving from actual print to digital. So Ben Stiller's character works, I believe, developing photographs for the front cover of the Times magazine. And one of their major contributors is the photographer played by, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, and he's here. What's his name? I can't remember. I cannot remember. It's so bad. Sean Penn. Oh man, it's hilarious. The contributing photographer, you know, that submits the photos for the front covers, played by Sean Penn. And on this one occasion, he sends the last photograph that will be placed on the last actual print issue of the Time magazine. And Ben Stiller's character accidentally loses that photograph. So he sets out on an adventure to try to locate Sean Penn's character and see if he can retrieve the photo or have another copy of the photo handed to him by Sean Penn's character. So it's an amazing adventure, how he kind of like literally island hops, you know, or country hops from one place to the next trying to locate Sean Penn's character. And he goes through all these different, you know, really amazing location sites and, you know, through there. And it's a very unique story, because there's a bit of kind of like a love angle too between Ben Stiller's character and Kristen Wiig's character as well, was another character that I love too. So it's really unique in that sense. But the one thing that really caught my eye was all the locations in this film. So I definitely say if you haven't checked this out, you know, it's definitely worth a look. There's lots of really nice little neat surprises in here as well with those visuals. And there's even some nice visual effects also added for this too, because Ben Stiller's character has kind of like a wild imagination too, so that's actually pretty unique. So definitely say if you haven't checked out The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, definitely check it out, guys. It's definitely worth a look. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I have for you. Like I said, this is another small little selection, but they're actually some really good films. You know, I really enjoyed each and every one of them, so I definitely, you know, recommend those to you. And again, like I said, guys, will probably be the last video that I do before I head out to Japan. I can't believe it's about a week away now that I'm heading out there, so I'm really excited about that. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be taking any video while I'm over there. Probably not, but I'll definitely take lots of pictures. So I'll definitely try to make a video compilation of, you know, some or all those pictures that I take, you know, and share that with you guys as well, all right? So as always, you know, like this video if you like what I had to show you, what I had to say about it. Leave me comments, guys, all right? Unfortunately, I won't be able to comment back on whatever you guys, you know, leave in the comment section, because again, I mean, there's this whole thing with Google Plus that I really don't want to do. But if anything, I'll make kind of like a video response if I get enough comments on my videos and stuff like that to answer some of your questions or comments that you have. You know, leave me recommendations, anything you guys should recommend that I should watch. Share my video, guys. Let other people know that I'm here, you know, reviewing films and stuff like that. And subscribe to my channel. Share it around. Have other people subscribe to my channel too, alright, guys? So Until the next time, guys, all right? Stay safe, keep watching films, playing games or whatever, and I'll check you out later, guys.